Huh? Oh, I was gonna put these in the trash along with whatever game that Alex was picking this year. Oh, hey there. What are you guys doing down there?
Hey, it's me. I'm Will. Vox is a little busy to do the intro this year, so he asked me to step in. So this is the game of the year. If you've never seen these videos before, we do these once a year, where we get people from the community in the EposVox Discord to submit some videos about games that they played this year. Now, we do things different. It's not whatever games came out this year, because otherwise everyone's just gonna pick God of War Ragnarok anyway. But we pick whatever it was that really sucked us in this year, whatever games we were playing. You know, that could be something as old as Tetris on the Game Boy, or it could be, you know, it could be God of War Ragnarok. Who knows? But not the point. And I can think of no one better to get us started than the man himself. So why don't we go ahead and throw this over to EposVox.
Honestly, I'd have to give my game of the year to Battlefield 2042 this year. I've missed most of the story-based games of the year, or else one of those would most assuredly win for me, but I put a bunch of time into the multiplayer games over the summer that I really enjoyed playing, and 2042's exposure map and that whole update blew me away. It was a bombastic release that kept me hooked for a couple months, basically wanting to hop in and play every single day. I haven't really jived with the recent Battlefield releases, and 2042 really brought back that experience that I loved, and we had so many great Discord game nights with it. Discord.gg/EposVox. After a few updates, the gunplay was addicting and responsive. The ability to quickly change everything about my loadout allowed me to adapt quickly whenever I got frustrated without having to wait for the match to end or for me to die even. And the exposure map was so big and well set up that I could basically have a completely different gaming experience each time I played, which I cannot really say that about most games today. I have to admit, after late August, I kinda stopped gaming for a while in general, and at the moment I'm hooked on Halo Infinite, but I very much look forward to when I go back to the 2042 rabbit hole again, and I know that I will have a blast when I do. I'm keeping it installed. It's high on my list for games to alternate to. They just released a new big update with another new specialist that I can't wait to try.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan. Put as much distance between you and the truth as you want. It changes nothing. Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. But there is one unavoidable truth you will never escape. You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know.
What is there to say of perfection? This is the third version of my script because I cannot find the particular combination of words to do anything other than butcher God of War's beauty. In many ways, I feel my struggle to articulate these feelings is a reflection of Kratos' own story. Like God of War's perfection, Kratos' burdens, sins, and struggles are obvious to those who have played the game or know his story, but they're hard to convey at first glance in a trailer or a video barely longer than one. He is a walking monument to the tragedy of his life. His skin is literally stained ghostly white with the ashes of his wife and daughter, who he butchered. But you might mistake that for the body paint of a warrior. Even the games his story was told through struggle to tell Kratos' story in a mature and thoughtful way, often feeling more like a parody of his tragedy rather than the embodiment of it. For 17 years, that story was flashed across the TVs of millions of players in fits of rage and action-fueled chaos. But then the developers tried something new. They put the story first. Like the prior games, the gameplay in God of War is fantastic, but it's measured and nuanced rather than chaotic to reflect Kratos' internal struggle. When Kratos reaches below the floorboards and reluctantly withdraws the blades of chaos, he's ripping open a wound that never healed. They offer unfathomable power, yet that power comes from the scraps of humanity and sanity Kratos was left with after losing everything. It gives new weight to a weapon that makes you feel utterly unrestrained. Also like the prior games, the world is wonderfully rendered, but being able to walk through it and discover it at your own pace makes it feel like a world Kratos inhabits rather than just destroys. In the 17 years that Kratos was a part of our lives before this game, I never once felt an ounce of sympathy for him. God of War didn't just make me feel bad for Kratos, it made me weep for him. Every time I play the clip of Christopher Judge saying, I know, my eyes tear up too, and I choke on the air his pain traps in my throat. Judge's performance, the work of the supporting cast, and the hundreds of developers that brought it all to life shattered me. They saw through 17 years of violence and embraced the broken man at the heart of this franchise. And I think they finally convinced the world that he's more than just a monster. God of War is a love letter to the franchise, written in the blood of its failure to do Kratos' story justice. It is perfection.
A lot of this performance, for me, is a love letter to my kids. It's an apology.
Well, here we are again, another year, another Game of the Year video. If you've seen my previous year's videos, you know that I'm not exactly one to do something traditional, and this year is no different. My Game of the Year pick this year is Hell Let Loose. We're now a full year removed from the release of Battlefield 2042. 2022 really should have been the year of Battlefield, but mismanagement and odd decisions left that game, and fans of that series, kind of stranded when it comes to large-scale first-person warfare games. Enter developer Black Matter Studio and publisher Team 17. An unlikely duo attempting to fill that void that DICE and EA have left us. Hell Let Loose is Black Matter's first game, a game that's been in early access since 2019 and fully released back in July of 2021. It is a World War II first-person shooter aiming to provide an authentic large-scale experience. Now, if you are a fan of Battlefield and much of that last sentence kind of scared you, don't be afraid. This is not Arma. Hell Let Loose aims to be somewhere in between Battlefield, Insurgency, and Squad, with a good mix of approachable gameplay. It's easy to pick up, but difficult to master, with team play at the heart of its gameplay loop. Games are 50 versus 50, with each team broken out into 6-player infantry squads, 2-player recon units, or 3-player armor units, with a single commander all working together to take the map's objectives. Whether that be an offensive map with US forces attempting to storm Normandy, or a traditional warfare match with opposing sides battling for control of Carentan. For games like this, you often hear the phrase, "There's something for everyone here." And honestly, that does kind of work here. Whether you want to be in the trenches reviving and healing folks as the combat medic, reinforcing hardpoints on the backline and building crucial resource nodes as the engineer, or hopping into a tank to provide some heavy support for your fellow teammates to push out the opposition, there are few games that I've played in recent memory that have provided as many white-knuckle moments as taking on 3 tanks at the same time. Running armor in this game requires tight coordination between the driver, the gunner, and the spotter. Desperately trying to spot the enemy armor before it sees you, oftentimes engagements are taking place at upwards of 400 plus meters out. Flanking through heavy enemy infantry-infested backlines to get behind the enemy tanks and clear out their spawns. It can't be overstated. If you're a lapsed Battlefield fan, want something new, something exciting, something intense, there's no better game out there today than Hell Let Loose. And with the recent December update, Black Matter and Team 17 are eager to prove that they're in this for the long haul, with them introducing long-awaited new snow maps, new weapons, and new vehicles. This is not even the end, with British forces on the way sometime next year, which is sure to bring along with it a new theater of war. This is why, for 2022, I'm picking Hell Let Loose as my Game of the Year.
Can you imagine a world without Mario Kart? God damn it!
Red shell, goddamn
I can't. Hi, this is Techie, and welcome to the Game of the Year. And on a good one, baby! Yes! Known as a family-friendly game, Mario Kart has been ruining friendships and creating family feuds since the SNES days. Looking back at all the Mario Kart titles, I was not impressed with any of them since the N64 title. In 2014, Nintendo decided to release a weird version of the Wii called Wii U, but with it, they released a bundle which came with Mario Kart 8. But one of the biggest flaws about Mario Kart 8 is its lack of battle arena with battle balloons. To be fair, in the Wii U version, there is no Battle Balloon Arena, but in the updated Switch version, there is Battle Balloon Arena, but it is random, and that is boring. I just want to play Battle Balloon Arena. Then in 2020, for the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo pulled the wool over our eyes and said, we're gonna give you Mario Kart again and call it Deluxe. So would I buy the same game again? You're goddamn right I did. I spent $60 for the same game with a little improvement once again. It's 2022. What are we going to get from Mario Kart? And then Nintendo drops the big announcement. Guess what? You're not getting Mario Kart 9, but you are going to get 48 new courses. And for $24.99, it was a day one purchase. Despite the negatives, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is my game of the year for its brilliance at staying fresh over the years, staying fun and competitive, helping me develop friendships and good spirit with my school students and other friends from online communities like the Red 5 Network, and most importantly, allowing me to spend quality family time with my young daughters who ask to play every other day. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is my 2022 Game of the Year. Now let me go win some races for you, and we'll see you on the other side.
This is nuts.
Your uncle died in mysterious circumstances, and his potion shop now belongs to you, as well as all of his debt. And that's how you get started in Potionomics, a business sim turned card game published by Xseed Games. It falls to you to win a series of 5 potion making competitions to pay back the debt while keeping the shop afloat on the day-to-day. Beyond the potion crafting, the entire game is reliant on bartering to make your potions sell for more money, and they do this with a clever little card game and competing stress and interest levels. There are plenty of side characters and vendors that you can get to know, get more bartering cards from as you progress, and even romance if you feel like. 2022 seemed to be the year of indie companies putting out potion crafting simulators, and as a practicing witch IRL, you know I was beyond enthused to get my teeth into all of them, but Potionomics is the one that really stood out to me when the dust settled. I wish you could keep playing for completionist stuff after you beat the final competition, but overall this game is cute, funny, gay, and a really good time if you're looking for a business sim with a twist.
Yeah, that's right. I'm powering up my PS2 and plugged in my DualShock 3. Welcome to my Game of the Year of 2022, which is
The Bouncer.
The Bouncer is a beat-em-up game with light RPG elements, co-developed by Dream Factory and Squaresoft, who later became Square Enix if the name sounded familiar. The story is all over the place, but you have 3 playable characters who manage a bar called Fate on Dog Street: Sion, Volt, and Co. Every face button in this game has a different attack: mid and high punches, low kicks, and jump attacks. Just like in MGS2 where doing a light tap will just aim, and a strong tap will aim and shoot.
The Bouncer.
There has pressure-sensitive attacks. You have more combos per character with weak or strong presses of the buttons. Sion's mid-punch attack, doing 2 strong M's, does 2 punches up in the air, while doing a weak punch, strong punch, weak punch, does a triple kick. Hell, they included a Trinity attack that was definitely the basis for the Trinity system used in Kingdom Hearts 1. Hold up. Wait a minute. So that's where the Sion and Sora memes come from, because it's from the same person, Tetsuya Nomura, and they definitely didn't steal elements from this game for Kingdom Hearts 1. Or how one person is wearing a Dog Street shirt in Kingdom Hearts 2's Twilight Town.
The Bouncer.
There's RPG elements let your characters get stronger with bouncer points, and let them rank up to level S. Chaining kills via crowd control for extra damage, which nets you a multiplier for more points that allows you to power up your character and gain extra moves, like Ko's Raging Tiger attack, which does 7 kicks to an enemy, or Volt's Giant Swing, which is, well, a giant swing. So with all these moves and combos, where else can you use it? Well, you got 3 other modes. Survival mode, which has one character facing 10 ways of increasing enemies, but your health does not restore. Then you have a versus mode with a 4-player free-for-all and team battle, with 4 or 6 characters on the map causing pure chaos. Any chain reaction against all 3 characters causes massive damage. The ragdoll physics in this game really makes the game worth playing just to send an opponent sky high and watch them tumble down the stairs causing carnage. Or you find out that the main antagonist,
Duragon C. Mikado,
has 4 different characters to choose from, with his last form being the deadliest and hard to unlock. If this doesn't compel you to dust off your PS2, that's fine. However, if you're into music, I suggest listening to the soundtrack created by Noriko Masuda and Takahito Iguchi, a great mix of rock, jazz, and electronica music, with Sion's theme, Ugetsu's theme, and Duragon's Madness theme being my favorites. It's too bad the multiplayer lobby music was not in the soundtrack, because that one slaps as well. I'll be playing more of this on my Steam Deck for years to come, praying for a remake of this game if it ever happens. Not looking likely though. Look what happened to Parasite Eve earlier this year. Cheers to
the Bouncer,
my game of the year of 2022.
winner, Sion Barzad.
Hi, this is Nav, and my Game of the Year pick in the MMO category is World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Released on November 28th and still in the honeymoon phase, Warcraft's 9th expansion is a welcome change that has ushered many players home again, and it truly feels good to be back on Azeroth. After arriving on the Dragon Isles, Dragonflight puts you in control of your very own customizable dragon with several options to collect and choose from. From there, you can take to the skies and race other friends around the beauty of the Dragon Isles. Plus, if you like dragons, then you will love creating your very own dragon character. Introducing the Drakthir, the new Evoker class. Spend hours in the character creation screen customizing your own Drakthir, with endless options to choose from. Speaking of options, the talent system has been revamped to give you more control over your playstyle, and you can now pick and choose talents on the fly without having to be in a rested area. And if the talent system gives you that hint of nostalgia from the past, then make sure to jump back in and explore all of the new zones. The new zones will feel somewhat familiar to you, as there are some hints and echoes of our past favorite zones throughout the expansion. I've been playing World of Warcraft for the past 18 years, and Dragonflight hits hard with all of the nostalgia, from vanilla to Wrath, and pulls us all back into the fantasy feel and adventure of our fantasy online game. So here's a special shout out to Team 2 for bringing us what will go down as one of the best expansions.
Hey guys, my name is Nick, and my game of the year this year is a game that fundamentally hasn't changed since 1999. I'm talking about Counter-Strike, or rather, CSGO. So, what is it that keeps me coming back to CSGO time and time again for nearly a decade? On the surface, CS presents itself as a very basic 5v5 bomb defusal mode, but beneath that, there's an incredibly unforgiving experience that is mechanically rich with a massive skill ceiling to boot. There's even a learning curve on crosshair placement and how to move around a map with that crosshair. Every little thing in CS matters, from learning spray control to utility placement. These things can make a world of difference and encourages users to spend more time outside of the game practicing utility. I can recall watching a specific Freiburg video back in the day on loop just so I can get my spray control down, just to ultimately go into a community DM server and practice for hours against real terrorists. This grind can get tiring though after time, but with community servers comes a slew of different and fun modes, from KZ to surfing. These modes can be a tool for learning and mastering mechanics, but in a fun way. Some of these modes, such as Retake, have become so popular that Valve themselves have made it an official game mode. With all of that said though, there is one glaring negative I haven't touched on yet: smurfing. One of the dumbest things Valve has ever done was something called rank decay, meaning not playing the war ranked experience can actually derank you, and it's caused for a lot of problems in matchmaking. But this might have been fixed back in August. We're not exactly sure, but since this update, it almost feels like your rank is completely meaningless, matching up MGEs with globals and so on. But overall though, I still see CSGO in an incredibly positive light. That core experience is still incredibly challenging and fun. And all of that is backed up by some incredibly well-made maps. There's truly nothing else quite like CS out there.
Hey everyone, KuJoe here. I'm here to tell you about my 2022 Game of the Year. And as you can probably tell, it's a mobile game. And I know what a lot of you are thinking is, oh no, it's a mobile game. So yeah, I was the one who picked New World last year as my Game of the Year, so gotta keep the hits coming. This year, as you can probably see, my game is Pokemon Go. Let's get into this game though. Okay, so the reason why I picked Pokemon Go this year, even though I had started playing it when it first came out and I played it for a few months off and on, I really enjoyed it, and I got bored pretty quickly of it, mainly because after the original 151 Pokemon, I kind of lost interest in Pokemon. So yeah, then I kind of forgot about it for a while, but then this year my family started playing it, and I was like, oh, okay, if they're playing it, let's, turn this into more of a family bonding experience, and that's what it ended up being. Like me and my kid, we go to Pokestops on the weekends, set up some lures, do some raids, just drive around different parks and we've been going to like game stores and stuff like that. Just spending a lot of time just, looking at all the different Pokemon that are out there. We catch them, we show them off, we trade them, we do the raids together. Some of the raids are really hard for us, with 2 people, and that's kind of the fun, is us, trying to figure it out, trying to learn the strategy together, learning all the ins and outs as a family. I did mention me and my kid a bunch, but my wife also plays it, and we've done a couple raids together. It's been a couple times where we'll be driving home from somewhere and be like, there's a raid happening, we gotta stop. Stuff like that's a lot of fun for me. So between that and the trading, the showing off which Pokemon we have, basically look what I was able to catch, look what event I'm on type thing. We don't even look at like the levels or anything like that, and my wife was doing the battle mode that they have. I was not big into that. I just like the whole collecting and catching and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun for us, and yeah, I'm hoping that we can continue playing this game because it's free, it's constantly evolving. It's a lot different than from when I first started. Definitely more interactive. Really like that. It was kind of sad that I had to pay money to change teams, but the sacrifices we make for our kids. Anyways, that is why Pokemon Go is my game of the year, because I've been able to play it with my family, and it's a daily experience that we get to bond over, and I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's my game of the year.
Greetings, I'm DopeFish, and the easy answer for the game of the year would be Elden Ring. But I suspect most of you might have heard of that game already, so I decided to go for something else. My pick will instead be Valkyria Chronicles 4, a beautiful turn-based tactics RPG. With pseudo real-time third-person shooting, the game both looks and plays pretty uniquely, and kept surprising me with how much depth it has. In the game, you command Squad E of the Federation. In this partly coming-of-age story, your squad is getting to grips being on the field together for a prolonged war against the Empire. Each unit you control is a unique character with their own story, motivations, strength and weaknesses. And part of the enjoyment is picking soldiers that work well together. As you complete missions, they'll grow stronger, and certain combination of characters will unlock side missions after they spent enough time together. These side missions gives more insight to their backgrounds, and completing them might alter their strength and weaknesses. As you might have guessed by now, the game is very narrative driven, with the story progressing between each mission. The story gives meaning to the war and builds up conspiracies both within your own faction and that of the enemies. Unfortunately, the game can be a bit Japanese, as in that it goes a bit over the top, and that it can occasionally be a bit focused on fan service, especially in the DLC. But if you can look past that, it's easy to grow attached to the characters, something that makes the game's permadeath even scarier. But don't fret, you get plenty of opportunities to prevent such fates, and if any of the main characters would fall, you simply fail the mission instead. Besides, as you progress you'll meet new soldiers along the way that will be joining your squad. The missions themselves are mainly focused on either eliminating all the opposition or capturing their base, while staying alive and preventing them from doing the same. Each turn you have a certain amount of action points that you can spend freely, either controlling several units or spend them all on one character, though limited ammo and exhaustion makes them less efficient if you keep using the same unit in a single turn. During your turn you can freely move around your character in a third-person view for as long as you got stamina. While moving, the enemies that are within range have attack of opportunity and will freely attack you. But as soon as you start aiming, they'll cease their shooting and let you aim until you take your shot. In each mission there's usually a named enemy character, which, if defeated, will unlock new equipment such as weapons that you can equip on your units. You'll unlock additional options to tweak and optimize your squad throughout the game. So, if you enjoy games such as XCOM 2 and other turn-based tactics games, I would highly recommend Valkyria Chronicles 4 as the game of the year.
Hey everybody, Turtle here, back again for another Game of the Year video. This year the game I picked was Hyperlight Drifter. Hyperlight Drifter is an action-adventure game with amazing pixel art, a fantastic soundtrack, tough but rewarding gameplay, and an incredible world and atmosphere. Hyperlight Drifter was developed by Heart Machine, and you can tell that everybody who worked on this game was pretty passionate about what they were working on. The visuals are absolutely phenomenal, the music is superb, and the gameplay is tight and fairly easy to learn. Initially I felt like this game was like a 9.5 out of 10 because it had some issues with controllers and input latency, and it had a few little bugs here and there. Most of them you wouldn't notice in normal gameplay though. Since then, however, all of those issues have been resolved. They've made significant improvements to the controller support and latency issues. They even upgraded the engine to the latest GameMaker engine. It's pretty crazy this was made with GameMaker, but I've been very impressed with this game. At this point, I think it's one of the best games I've played in a very long time. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. This is my game of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks to everybody for allowing me to participate in this year's Game of the Year video. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and thanks for watching.
Wait, why do I only get to say one game? I picked up Vampire Survivors on my Steam Deck last week, and I cannot put it down. This is the most addicting shit ever. I can't stop leveling up and murdering hordes of the undead. Please let me talk about Vampire Survivors for another minute.